if you have ever been interested in hardware design, you must know that you need to learn some hardware description languages like VHDL, right? But you know that VHDL is complex for beginners. It helps us to do the hardware design, but for the beginning stage, it is not very easy to learn. And that where comes PYNQ. That means we will be utilizing Python for hardware design. This can be done on the AMD Xilinx PYNQ board. And in this video, we will learn how PYNQ can help you in the beginning stage of your hardware design, as well as if you are interested in AI and machine learning. Okay. So what is PYNQ? Now, PYNQ means Python plus FPGA. Okay. Python plus FPGA. That means it is combining your FPGA with your convenience of Python. If you have ever studied Python, you know Python is a high-level language, and the coding is very simple in Python. So PYNQ can combine Python and FPGA. Now, this helps us to write and run Python code on our PYNQ board. Okay, and you can control the FPGA hardware using your Python only. You don't need VHDL for this. That means your work for starting hardware design became a lot more simpler. Okay. Next, let's compare some features of VHDL and Python. Right now, we know that VHDL is a proper hardware description language, while Python is a high-level programming language. Python is comparatively easier to understand, but VHDL is difficult at the beginning stage. It is comparatively more effort-taking as compared to Python. Okay. Now, for VHDL, you require the knowledge of signal, clocks, but in case of Python, you just need to write the simple Python code. Okay. In case of VHDL, the development process is slightly longer, while in Python, the testing part is very simple and very quick. Okay. So you can understand that as compared to VHDL, Python is more beginner friendly, right? When you're starting for hardware design, Python can be much simpler as compared to VHDL. Okay. Now, how PYNQ is helpful. So you can learn how to control a hardware using Python, and Python is again very simple. And you can understand how processors and FPGA work together, right? You can implement all the digital logics on this PYNQ board. Like you would do with the help of VHDL, you can do the same thing with the help of Python. Now, how this whole process works. So this is our PYNQ board. In this board, we have two things: processing system and programmable logic. Now, what happens is that whenever we run our code using Python, that code actually runs on the Linux operating system. Your processing system is your ARM processor, and it runs your Linux, Python, and your Jupyter notebook. So you write your Python code on Jupyter notebook, and that code runs on the processor, your ARM processor, right? Next, you have the programmable logic. Now, of course, your code cannot directly interact with your PYNQ board. So the programmable logic interacts with this processing system. So this contains your FPGA, where your digital circuit design gets loaded. Okay, this contains the FPGA where your digital circuit design is loaded, and then your Python code interacts with that digital circuit, and then you can control all the components of your PYNQ board. Right? So I'm repeating again, there are two main important parts of your PYNQ board: processing system and programmable logic. Processing system is your ARM processor. It runs Linux and your Python code. And programmable logic is your FPGA, where your digital circuit design gets loaded. Now this circuit will help me to interact with different components of the board with the help of Python language. Okay, so this is how this board works. Now, how easy is Python? Now we have been talking about that Python is comparatively simpler as compared to VHDL. But how easy it is? So here I have an example. So suppose you have to see the switch. So here, these are the switches through which you can give the input, right? You can give the input as 0 or 1. So now suppose you have to interact with these switches with the help of Python. So what you can do is you can just simply write this base.switches.read. So we have two switches. So here we can mention the number 0 or 1 to interact with one of the switches, right? So this simple line will be able to interact with your switch. So this is all you have to write in Python to interact with your switch. Now you have LEDs in your board. To interact with your LEDs, you just need to write this base.led0.on, or if you want to turn them off, you can just write off. So this is what I told you about, that this is the simplicity of Python, right? In case of VHDL, you will have to write more complex logic to interact with the board. But using just a single line, you can interact with the components of board. Okay. Now, what does this process look like? So you write your Python code in Jupyter, right? And you connect your laptop with your board, and then you can just run your code. So here I have an example. You can see it in the video. So this is your OR gate. Currently input is 0, 0, so the output is 0. Now one of the input is 1, the output became 1, so the LED is glowing. Now again the another input is 1, so output is 1, LED is glowing. Now both the inputs are 1, so the output is 1 and LED is glowing. So this is how OR gate is implemented on this board. And this can be done with the help of a simple Python code. Okay. But is that all a PYNQ board can do? No, of course not. You can also implement AI and machine learning on this PYNQ board. So if you are interested in AI and ML, this board can help you to understand how AI models are deployed on hardware platforms. PYNQ can be used for your AI and ML projects. Now the Python can run the code and FPGA can do the heavy lifting. So all the heavy computations can be done with the help of FPGA, right? So you can see that Python can be used to write and control the AI applications, and FPGA can be used for object detection, signal processing. So this can also be used for AI and ML. So here is an example. What we can do is we can create a face detection program with the help of PYNQ board. So we can connect a camera through our board, right? The Python captures your frame. This frame is sent to FPGA. Now this FPGA detects your face and Python displays your result, right? As I said, FPGA hardware can speed up your heavy computations. Okay. So this PYNQ board is not just for learning, right? It can be your first step towards hardware design. If you are actually interested in learning hardware design and you are confused if you should learn VHDL or not, or if you will be able to understand VHDL or not, then this is the perfect place to start, because Python is very simple. So if you start with Python, you will be able to identify if you're actually interested in hardware design or not, right? Once you have built some digital logics with the help of Python, you can later move on to VHDL as well, right? So this can be your first step. And You can also build AI and ML applications using this board.